Welcome everyone to our Magnification Call for August 2nd. And thank you for joining us. The last couple of weeks we've talked about forgiveness. 2 weeks ago Richard talked about forgiving others. And then last week I talked about forgiving yourself. Does anyone have any stories from that?
No?
I have a story.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know. It probably has a lot to do with the fact that I just suffer from depression, but I always feel like I'm never doing enough or I'm somehow inadequate. And some events in my life growing up had reinforced that idea in my head for a long time. And I wasn't at the call last week, but I did think a lot about this week as I was working on some projects of my own. And I thought about how, we're all human and we all make mistakes. So why do we have the hardest time forgiving ourselves? Why do we tend to be harder on ourselves than we are on others? And I guess it has a lot to do with the idea that society teaches us that we have to be perfect, individually, and that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make that happen. And I've certainly made plenty of mistakes in my life, but learning to forgive myself, I'm not going to move forward with anything in my life if I'm unable to do that, because it comes from a place of loving yourself as you love your fellow man. And I just wanted to say that this week that was something that I worked on while I was doing my individual projects and my artwork. So that's what I just wanted to share.
Thank you.
May I say something?
Yes.
What Stephen said made me think of when he said loving yourself. That is one of the hardest things, at least I know it is for me. And so I'm still trying to learn how to forgive myself and by loving myself. Oddly enough, maybe not oddly enough, but I find it easier to love and forgive another. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Thank you.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Anyone? Bad thing? Always a bad thing?
I think it's because we have to live with ourselves. For me, I end up replaying those conversations that went poorly over and over and over again. And I always say something different. I say something better. I say something kinder in that replay of the conversation than I did in the moment. And so then there comes that harsh criticism of self that comes from that constant review.
Yeah, I think part of it is our own desire to think that we're completely in control. And we don't want to believe that we don't have control, so that if we're going to accept that we have full control of our lives and our actions, then we have to accept that anything we do was intentional and wrong. Okay, and it's hard to admit that we don't always have as much control as we want, but we hold to that, we cling to that because of our fear. Because we're not in control, who is? And that's why it's a very powerful thing to turn that over to God and say, okay, our source has things in control. But it's a terrifying thing to make that leap. So sometimes it's better just it's easier to whip ourselves and pretend we actually have that control. If the first steps of to the 12-step program in addiction, to come out and say, this is bigger than me. And I've had a few experiences in my life where I've had to say, this is bigger than me. And to go to my source and say, it's bigger than me, I can't do it. And as soon as I did that, within hours, all hell broke loose. And it's like, okay, I put it in your hands, and it's like, and things got fixed. And it was excruciating, but things got fixed. And so that's one of the reasons. Just think about that as you consider. Yeah, Tony?
Tony's got a comment.
Yeah, I think back to my divorce 25 years ago and the process I went through that dealt with a lot of self-forgiveness. But along with that, I found that I was guilt parenting in a lot of ways, not realizing it, trying to to make up for what I felt I had lacked in. But I think what it really boils down to, I think, with the self-forgiveness is somehow through some of these processes and things we've been through, I know myself was learning to trust myself again. That trust factor that I could make the right decisions, right? Because the ones that I had made previously were so catastrophic. And you know, I can't, you know, there's in a divorce, there's always plenty of blame to go around, doesn't matter. So, you know, I had my accountability there as well. I mean, there's so much I didn't do. So it was a years and years of processing that I went through, to not only forgive myself, and I still deal with it with certain, one of my daughters, she can push my button, you know, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, back to guilt, you know. And it's like, gee whiz, where'd that come from? You know, so it's interesting, but I really fall back to learning to trust myself. And when I trust myself, that won't happen. That doesn't happen. And I can forgive myself and move forward and not have to look back.
Thank you.
Hey,
I have to say, yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
on a lighter note, a lot of things come down to golf, because when you're hitting the ball and you screw it up, you're feeling horrible, you're feeling terrible, you're feeling stupid, and you have to immediately forgive yourself. Strangely, this is a strange analogy, but if you don't put that out of your mind, and you talk about leave it to the source, golf is largely a game of automatic responses, not thought processes. The best way to hit a golf ball is to think of nothing, because you already know how to do it. So it's really interesting. You talk about forgive yourself and perfection and all this. It really comes down to golf. It really does. Because when you're able to completely forgive yourself, put it out of your mind, trust the source, take the shot, think of nothing, take the shot, chances are you're going to just visualize where the ball's going. Visualize your success. It's a very similar process. It's a lighter note, but.
Well, if you remember, Chuck, our call 2 weeks ago on forgiveness, I didn't use golf because I don't golf. I use basketball. And imagine if you lose, you miss a clutch shot, and every time you go out to play, you remind yourself of that. What kind of player are you going to be? It is a matter of programming. Do we hold on to that, and where do we go, and what's the value? One of the statements, there's two statements that drive me crazy, especially in the Utah culture. I hear it a lot. Well, I'm not perfect. Usually they say that after they just murdered someone. I mean, they've done something that is so horrific. It's like, nope, I don't know what arrogance got into your mind that you thought anyone thought you're perfect. No one's believing that, right? We just wanted kind of a little bit of ethics or morality. Would have been good. Well, that's the whole point. We're all broken. We all constantly make mistakes. And to hold on to this concept, I don't know the idea, I'm not perfect. It's one of those statements that just makes me crazy. Oh, darn, we all thought you were. And so it's a matter of just moving past that. Say, okay, we're broken and we're looking for, again, progress, not perfection, right? Isn't that one of our slogans, models? Progress, not perfection. Yes, okay, one last thing on this and we'll move on. Marcy, go ahead.
I was going to say, instead of saying I'd made a mistake, what can I learn from this?
Right. Go ahead, Marcy.
That's along the lines of what I was going to say. I have a sister-in-law who keeps a journal faithfully, which is my message here right now I'm going to make, is to keep a journal in the evening. And she said she does that so that she can have proof that she learned a lesson and doesn't have to do it again to show her higher power that she actually figured out what went wrong, and either she can or can't do anything about it. But I think of it in terms of a filmmaker. At the end of every shoot day on a production, what does the director do? He sits down with everything that was shot that day, and he goes through it tediously, and he cuts what has to be thrown away, and he keeps what needs to be saved that's going into the final. And then he also, or he or she, makes adjustments to the next day's schedule along your organizer plan of what needs to be reshot, redone. But if it can't be reshot, well, it's done. It's got to be put in the cut. You got to cut it and put it out and write down either what you learned from it, what you would do different next time, or do something different the next day that fixes it a bit. Send that apology note right now, the next day. Get it on the schedule, and then be done with it, and then move on to your next shoot.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. When we finished building the first Christmas box house, we made a lot of mistakes. No one had ever done it before. And we were over $1 million over budget, which I had to cover, and just about bankrupted me. And what first thing we did, we started to build the Ogden house. The first thing we did before the shovel was put in the ground, we sat around a conference table for 6 hours and made a list of every mistake we made. Every single mistake. We had 4 pages of mistakes. That was so valuable. We saved $1 million on the next facility, and it was larger and better organized and designed, and was done in half the time, right? So it was valuable. And then we can kind of amortize the loss. It's like, well, we learned. But that meeting, that conference, I mean, people were in church like, we're going to sit down and talk about our mistakes. Absolutely, we are. What a great meeting. We walked away with 4 pages of notes. So today we're going to talk about, thank you. And I hope that was very valuable. Today we're going to talk about gratitude. And I'm going to start with some quotes. Here's one of my favorites about gratitude from Joseph Stalin, a man who killed more than 20 million people. Gratitude is a sickness suffered by dogs. So in this case, consider the source. Okay, now let's go on the other side. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Gratitude is a sign of noble souls. Aesop. When you focus on what you focus on expands, and when you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it. Opportunities, relationships, even money flowed my way when I learned to be grateful no matter what happened in my life. Oprah Winfrey. And I met the minister who actually prophesied that she would become famous, and she met him. They're still friends today, but met him after she had just been fired as an anchor on a local TV show. And she thought she was washed up. And she heard this minister speak, and she went up to him and said, could you pray over me? And he went in the back room and he said, you will touch hearts around the world. And they're friends to this day. Okay, let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let's be thankful. Buddha. I thank God for my handicaps, for through them I found myself, my work, and my God. Helen Keller. In our daily lives, we must see that it's not happiness that makes us grateful, but the gratefulness that makes us happy. Albert Clark. Okay, Abraham Maslow, my dad loved to talk about Maslow's pyramid of human needs and fulfillment. The most fortunate are those who have a wonderful capacity to appreciate again and again, freshly and naively, the basic goods of life with awe, pleasure, wonder, and even ecstasy. And then this guy, there are none so impoverished as those who will not see the abundance of their lives. As we go through our organizer every single day, we ask the question, what am I grateful for? I hope you're not kind of in that phase where I found myself at a time with prayers you just throw out a laundry list. I hope you actually think about it and think, what is it today that I am grateful for today? And the reason being is you may not know this, but gratitude is actually a habit. And it can be developed and you can become good. I love this word, you can weaponize it. Gratitude as a weapon is a very powerful, powerful weapon. Just as love is a powerful weapon. So let me ask you a question, an honest question. You don't have to raise your hand. Do you have a grateful heart?
Richard, did you want comments?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Nope.
You still not have to raise your hand, but
I want you to think about that. Do you have a grateful heart? Does that describe you? If someone asks what kind of person you are, would you say grateful? I was down in an orphanage in South America, and there was a child who was really excited to meet me. He, of course, did read my books. He had no idea who I was. He was excited to meet me because he had something to tell me that was really important. I'll never forget as he walked up to me. I'm walking into our orphanage, the colibri, the hummingbird. And as we're walking in, this little boy comes up, and he's a mess, right? He hasn't bathed in days. He's in tattered little clothes. His sandals are made of car tires. They took car tires and took twine and then poked a hole. They cut them in the shape of little sandals and then poked a hole through it. That's how they made the sandals for him. And this boy had the biggest smile on his face I have ever seen. It was massive. And he just started rambling off to me in Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish. And so I asked my brother to translate, and he said, this young man has a very, very important position in the orphanage. His position is he milks the cow. And apparently one of our neighbors there in the valley had an extra cow, and he donated it to the orphanage so they could have milk. And every day this little boy would get up at 5 a.m. and milk the cow. And he wanted to show me how he had this little screen that he would take the cream off. And this boy was so excited. And I thought, how many American kids would be so excited if their parents made them get up at 5 a.m. to milk the cow? That's something they would complain about. And yet this boy was filled with gratitude. My daughter, Jana, is naturally grateful. And, you know, people are born with different gifts, right? Well, one of her really powerful gifts is gratitude. And she just exuded it. I mean, if you gave her anything, there was no way you could spoil her. There's no way she would feel entitled. It's like everything you gave her, it was like you had given her so much. So someone like that, do you think you want to give them more? Absolutely, you do. You want to make them as happy as possible because because there's something about gratitude that lifts all of our spirits. So Jenna really told me one day, one of her life goals, her bucket list goals, is she wanted to see the band U2 in concert. And that was, she really wanted. She said, and then about 8 months after she told me that, she goes, Dad, next summer, U2 is coming to concert. Tickets go on sale in a month. And I said, honey, will you get those tickets? This is really exciting. And she, and I got spam. And she was really excited about it. So she waited to make the call. She couldn't get through. The tickets sold out in 10 minutes. We're talking 50,000 tickets sold out in 10 minutes. That's how popular U2 is. And so she was very disappointed. Well, a few weeks later, I was speaking for a large international company, and it was their Christmas party, and they were giving away gifts, and they were giving away amazing gifts. Like they gave away snowmobiles, and they were giving away iPods left and right. They gave away probably 200 iPods. I mean, it was like they gave away probably $250,000 of gifts. And I'm watching, well, one of the gifts, they said, we have tickets, we have a U2 package, and we have a book on U2, we have a purse for U2, and we have 2 tickets to their upcoming concert. And they had so many gifts that people were just walking up. They were naming it just like that, bam, bam, bam. So I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm watching that get is like, thank you, you know. It's like, they don't care. They didn't want those tickets. So I was with my assistant. I said, go grab him. It wasn't Diane, it was another one. I go grab him and see if he really wants those tickets and if I can buy them. So she follows him over to the table and says, you know, I'd just been the speaker there. So she said, Mr. Evans would like to buy those tickets from you if you didn't want them. And he goes, I don't even know who they are. And it's like, and I said, tell her I'll give him $500 for those tickets. He's like, what? So he says, yeah, let me just call me tomorrow. So he's down in like Provo. So we call the next day. My assistant calls and says, okay, come pick up the tickets. Well, she goes down and picks up the tickets and she comes back and I'm really excited. And then the day I'm going to give it, I'm keeping it a surprise, I realized something. There's 2 tickets in there. One was printed off and one was an actual ticket. They weren't next to each other. Who does 2 tickets that are in different parts of the arena? And I'm thinking, this is horrible. This is horrible. I just spent all this money for these tickets, and Jenna's going to be so disappointed. And so I said, she came in, and I thought she'll probably want to bring her sister Allison in. And so she came in, she goes, I have good news and bad news. I go, first, the good news. I got you tickets to U2. Well, she just goes crazy. She's so excited. She's so happy. She's like, Dad, oh my gosh, you're the best dad ever. I go, wait, let me give you the bad news. I'm really sorry, the tickets are together. So you'll be at the concert, both of you alone. And Jen's response was, did you really apologize for giving me U2 tickets? You're the best dad ever. She goes, things will work out. Okay. Gratitude just exudes from her. Of course I want to give things to her. Now this is what's exciting. Day of the concert, she goes, and I just said, hey, have a good time. And I get a call from her about 2 hours later. She goes, Dad, I'm standing next to Bono. He's sweating on me. I go, what? She goes, Dad, the tickets were magical. I'll tell you later. Well, what happened is she gets to the concert. She dressed up all cute. And she walks up there, and there's a big guy, and there's an Irish bro, big guy there is taking tickets, right? Because they bring their own crew, and walks up, and he takes her ticket, and he looks at it, and one's printed off, and he goes, He said, I'm sorry, Lassie. This ticket's no good. She said, what? This ticket's not going to get you in. It's no good. She's like, my dad bought those. So what? He goes, let me see your ticket, to my daughter, and goes, I was afraid. It's no good either. These tickets aren't any good. And they're just like stunned. And he goes, you're going to have to go over there and get a pass and get a wristband. He's like, what? What do you mean? She goes, there's no place. These tickets are no good. We're going to have to put you on the stage with the band. Like, are you kidding me? They're like, are you kidding me? She goes, no, Missy. Just go right over. And she's like, can I hug you? This big guy. It's like, and he gives her a big hug. And she calls me. She's standing next to Bono on the stage. I really believe the power of Jenna's gratitude made that happen. That is a more cosmic thing, right? But I know, as working with people, and my whole life is working with people, I know that the power of gratitude is one of the most powerful tools I have. As you know, I love my readers. I care a lot about my readers, who they are, and that they would come to my book signings. And I make sure that every reader has time with me at a book signing. Okay, I make sure that everyone has this experience. This is a powerful, powerful tool. And a couple of things I've seen. One time, with my charity, we got a check from the United Way for $400. Now, that $400 is nothing for the United Way, right? They do tens of millions of dollars. It's nothing. But I said, why did they send us a check? I don't know. They just sent us a check. I said, would you please find out who it is at United Way who sent that check, and let me call. So I called, and I actually got to the director of Northern Utah United Way. And I said, I just wanted to call and thank you for the check you sent. And he said, it wasn't a very big check. And I said, I'm really grateful. I don't know why you thought of us, but thank you so much. And he goes, you know what? You're the only person this year who's actually thanked me. And we've given a lot bigger checks away. He goes, I think that's going to be the first of many. And sure enough, the checks start coming in on a regular basis from United Way. What a powerful tool. I had a great review in the Seattle Post, a big newspaper. And then the next year, I get a call on this, like, Seattle Post is going to do another interview, another review of your book. And, oh, that's great. But I'm in all, 50 states. So it's like, and my publicist called and said, the author would like to meet, the writer for the Post would like to meet with you. And so I met with him. We had dinner, and after talking a while, he goes, I want you to know something. In 30 years, I've never done a review on the same author, ever. It's against my policy. And I said, well, why do you do mine? I'm certain there's better authors. And he said, you're the only author who's ever sent me a thank you note. Think about that. He said, I was pretty amazed. The only author who's ever sent a thank you note. I remember I heard a talk when I was, maybe it was in a book, maybe it was Norman Vincent Peale, about showing gratitude. And I remember when I was 16 that I wrote a letter to a man. I took our scouts, we went to his shop. He was a mechanic. And we went to his shop and he showed us around, and I wrote him a thank you note. I was at his house 8 months later, and that thank you note was on his fireplace mantle. And I thought, I wonder how many thank you notes this mechanic gets. And that was a powerful, that was a powerful lesson to me. The power of sharing, the power of giving that gratitude. So I want you to think about this in a really serious sense. I want you to, where we have a place for you to exercise, right? Where you write down your physical activities, I want you to think about gratitude in a different way. I want you to think about that gratitude every morning. For those who are on my Facebook page, know we have Gratitude Tuesday. And Diane, my assistant here, posts these Gratitude Tuesday notes every Tuesday. And people share what they're grateful for. I wanted to raise the level of gratitude in the world. And I thought, well, this is one way we can do this. We remind people to show their gratitude on a regular basis. I would like to show you my hero when it comes to gratitude. Diane called, she goes, I'm not sure if I'm going to be on this call. And if I am, I'm going to be late. I want to show you why. This is Diane's grandson, Nathan. Nathan is 13 years old. Can you all see that, Michael? Does that look right? The thing that's funny about Nathan, because he looks very small, he has a very small voice, a very high-pitched voice. He wrote a book. He's an author. He's been on many, many TV shows. And the thing that makes me laugh is when people talk to him, he says, I'm not a baby. And think about it, he's a teenager. Here's another picture of Nathan. Someone took him fishing. He caught a fish, that little fish there. There's Nathan. Nathan has, I'll probably say it wrong, osteo imperfecta, better known as brittle bone disease. He was born with maybe 20 broken bones. When I first met Diane, when she first came to work with me, I remember that week he was going in for a surgery. They were trying to put his bones together. His bones basically have the consistency of pasta. So he has serious bone breaks on a regular basis. His 18-month-old brother pushed a door and it broke his arm. Imagine living life with that consistency. He can't walk because his legs would snap in half. Right now, he's going through something very scary. Diane was saying goodbye, and Diane told me I could share this. And Diane, you are such a trooper to be here right now. He's going in for a life-threatening operation. We've been talking about this. Diane's been with me for 11 years. We've been talking about it. He wasn't supposed to live this long. He wasn't supposed to survive birth. What's happening as his head grows, as his organs grow, they're too big for his bones that are not growing. So even though he's 13 years old, his organs are 13, like a 13-year-old boy, but his body is more of a 4-year-old. So they're going to break all of his bones and eventually take his life. What's happening, they've been working for 2 years, is his head is too heavy and it's breaking his neck. Tomorrow morning, they're going to do a trach on him so they can do an operation they've never done before. They're going to try to shore up his neck to save his life. And Diane, we love you and blessings to you, and I can't believe you're even here. This is why I bring this up. This little boy they're having family prayer. And a few years back, they're praying, and he says, Heavenly Father, thank you for my body. Thank you for my body. How many of you have body issues? How many of us complain about our body, complain about our ailments, about our diabetes, about our weight, about our acne? And yet this little boy says, Heavenly Father, thank you for my body. He literally has a slogan that he says every single day, today is the best day ever. I wanted to bring this up for 2 points. I want to put things in perspective. First, I would like to invite you to pray with us for this little boy. He told his dad, Dad, I'm scared. And he said, but I prayed and I had a peaceful feeling come over me. Because of COVID, the family can't be with him. We've asked people to send letters. We've had almost, 1,600 people commit to send letters right now, Diane? How many? How many?
Over 1,800.
Over 1,800 people have committed, so we want to bring all these letters into him. His mother, hopefully it's worked out, hopefully that she can get in. I wanted to invite you all to pray for him and his family. But I want you to think of him. The next time you want to complain about your weight, about your gout, about your sickness. This is a little boy who learned to be grateful for every single day and thanks God for his body. What a powerful lesson we can learn from this little boy. About the little boy walking in his sandals and grateful because he gets to milk the cow at 5 in the morning and give to others. That he gets to be an important young man and contribute. So let me ask you the question again. Do you have a grateful heart? If we do nothing else, but through this come to the point where we have powerful gratitude, that we have the most grateful community on the planet, then we have succeeded. I told my charity 15 years ago that we will be known as the most grateful charity in Utah. I can't tell you how many times we picked up a new donor, like Delta Airlines, and I would say, why did we get you? And they would say, well, we've given hundreds of thousands of dollars to this charity. They stopped sending thank yous. I used to give these really big bonuses to my employees. I would give them half their monthly salary. And actually I'd give them a full month's salary as a Christmas bonus. That's pretty good, right? Considering I used to get like a McDonald's coupon box. One year I did it and I did not get a single thank you. That was before Diane. Diane's very grateful. And so the next year I decided instead that I would not, since they obviously didn't care, that I would stop giving bonuses. And so I did. And they were surprised. And I said, well, you didn't thank me last year, and you should see their faces. All of a sudden it's like, oh, it's like, you didn't say thank you. So it must not have meant that much because it meant a lot to me. See, the power of gratitude is a two-edged sword. It goes both ways. Ingratitude, as Benjamin Franklin said, is the opposite of virtue. The entitlement we see that is so pervasive in society right now causes, and you can just see the damage. You know, you see kids throwing tantrums because the new car their parents bought them wasn't the color they wanted. And here's Nathan. Thank you for my body, God. So I want you to wrestle with this every day this week. I want you to pray for Nathan, and I want you to wrestle with, am I grateful today? Did I act like a spoiled little kid, or did I seek out true gratitude? Did I really show gratitude to the world, to the people I love? Do they know how grateful I am? And you're going to see the power of that. You're going to start to understand that this is a habit that will transform your life immediately. It will transform your mood immediately. Okay. Diane, would you like to share anything with us? Can we just hear from you for just a second?
Well, I think that little boy has taught me a lot in the 13 years he's been with us. He's always happy. And he's so grateful. And he doesn't even complain. I think he was sent here for me. We're just, tomorrow, it's a trach that's going in him, and he'll be there for a week. And then he stays there, and then he'll have 3 neurosurgeon specialists on the 10th that will go in and take care of him there. And that's the surgery we're worried about, is the 10th. But he said, Grandma, it's okay. I will be okay. I prayed. I got on my knees the best way I could. And I prayed, and I had peace come over me. So, what more? I don't know. I just think I have to go on his faith. And he's taught me a lot. So thank you. Thank you, Rick. Rick's been so good to our kids. They love him. We were talking about you tonight. So thank you. You've put smiles on their faces. And I love the support. Thank you from all of you.
Was he the little boy that was on the Shriners commercial?
No.
He looks a little like him, a little
bit, but
bit.
That's a national.
That's a national. So I had a client saw that commercial and gave him Shriners a $40,000 motorcycle.
We are so grateful to Shriners. We couldn't do it without Shriners.
One of the things that's been really fun, Nathan's hot dogs, the brand. Well, Nathan had someone built him a hot dog booth. And what he does is Nathan goes around and does fundraisers for other charities to say thank you. Not for him, but for other charities. And so, and of course he couldn't do it without some amazing parents.
Yes.
They're amazing, and the fear and terror, and actually, whenever we're together, I actually spend less time with Nathan than I do with the siblings, because the siblings don't get the attention that Nathan does, and it's hard on them too. It's kind of like when someone has a baby, it's like you should bring a gift. Not the baby doesn't care if you bring a gift. Bring a gift for the siblings. That's what we always do. It's like the baby doesn't know, but the siblings, they know someone's getting all the attention. So anyway, this is what I would like you to seriously look at your organizer. And I want you to focus on that every page, every day this week. I want you to focus on that gratitude. I want you to spend extra time there. And I want you to ask yourself that question: do I have a grateful heart? And if the answer, be really honest. If the answer is no, good for you for being honest. Or if your answer is like mine, I can do better. I can do better. And then say, okay, then I'm going to do better. Because it's just like exercise. And you keep exercising, I guarantee that will open doors for you. It's like, I know, my friend Doug Osmond, he's one of the most grateful people I've ever met. I love Doug. I love being in the room. I saw him last week. It's always fun to be with. But isn't that right, Diane?
Yep.
He never forgets to say thank you. I have bought, how many lunches have I bought in the last 10 years, Diane?
Oh, many. Can't even count.
Thousands, right?
Yes.
Doug's the one guy who has never forgotten to say thank you. I don't even look for it. I don't even think about it, but most people don't say thank you. It's like he never forgets. Even if the day later, he'll send me, it's like, hey, buddy, I forgot to say thank you for lunch. That was so nice. The Osmonds did something right. They taught that gratitude. So I would like to leave you with that. I want you to Find the joy of gratitude in your life. This is a time when we have a lot to complain about, isn't it? That we think we do. Where we feel isolated. We have kind of a malaise, kind of, I mean, I do. And this is the best time for us to actually learn the power of gratitude and for each other. And I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for my friends that you spend Sunday night with me. I'm grateful for all you do. Michael, I'm grateful for you for always hosting these calls. You're always there and you do a great job. But I look at you and I just feel love. And Diane, would you mind posting the address that we can send?
Sure.
That we can send letters. If you would like to send a letter, what's going to happen? We have a post office box for Nathan. And I think it'd be really cool if we had 1,000 letters. I mean, 1,800 people so far, I guess 1,800 said they're going to send a letter. I don't know if they will. I hope they do. But I can just see Nathan, and then we're going to videotape him. Only his mother can go in there and have a message for you. And you'll love his voice. It's pretty sweet. It's very high pitched, and it sounds like a 4-year-old. So Diane, did you post that on the chat? It's gonna go. Okay, so it's a PO box. If you want to write that down.
There we go.
There it is. Letters to Nathan. PO box 876. What?
It's Midvale. Autocorrect. It's
Oh, not Middle Utah.
Midvale.
Midvale, Utah. Oh yeah, it does. It just did it for me too.
Ah.
There you go. Midvale, Utah. And then what will happen, Diane, will they make the letters sit for a few days?
Oh, we'll get them up there to them.
No, because of COVID, because
I don't know. I'm not
I don't,
sure.
whatever the hospital allows, so we'll put them in a paper sack and in big garbage sacks and bring them in. And you have to understand when you see Nathan, they put him in a halo and he was in it for months. He can't move. He can barely move as it is. He's going to be frozen there. All right. And what they're doing to his neck, he's not going to be able to move. So his mother will be able to hold the letters up to him and read them. And it will absolutely delight him. Maybe as much as Legos. He loves Legos.
You will be grateful. Thank you.
He is, as we said, he's a very grateful boy. He will be grateful for every single letter. They were very concerned that he might not be able to write letters back to everyone. And we said, do not even try.
He'll do a video on Rick's Facebook page.
We'll do a video. And we'll do it. And anyway, but pray for him that he'll be able to do that video. And pray for his parents. So, Julie Lefevre, you raise your hand.
Can we share this with other groups?
Yes.
Okie dokie. Cool.
Yeah. And if you go to my Facebook page, there's a poster that you can share. I think, gosh, what do we have? Like 600 shares, Diane?
Over
600 shares. Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much.
It's gonna get shared.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it'd be fun to flood it. He says if you knew him. When Diane, by the way, he is a little sassy too. Diane said, "This is my boss. He's an author," and he goes, "Well, so am I." Which is awesome.
The post office is ready and willing. My husband talked to them and said, "There's going to be some mail coming through here," and they had tears in their eyes, actually. So.
But just remember, today is the best day ever.
That's right.
Thank you for my body. So, CJ, you have a question or comment?
Just 1 second. He ran to get something he wanted to show you.
If anyone sends an email to me, I will forward it to the family. Just even the comments on the Facebook, their family they were really moved, right, Diane?
They were reading them tonight, and all that's been very helpful to the teenagers. They were really loving it.
Yeah, CJ.
Our son owns a network marketing company, and the new package that he just created must be in Nathan's honor because it's called...
You've got to move it back.
Best day ever.
Is that just too cool?
That is too cool.
It's the best day ever pack.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. I keep trying to get off, and it's good we did. It's nice. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your kindness. We are, all of us, we're all grateful for you, but I'm very grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this relationship and our time that we get to share, especially during this time when we're locked away. I look forward to Sunday nights and being with you, and I always hope that I share with you something that will make a difference in your life. I promise you that if you will actually do this, that you'll actually say, when I fill out my page tomorrow, I am going to focus. I'm going to put a little extra time on that gratitude. And I'm going to, just like I started a new stomach routine this morning to strengthen my stomach and lower back. And I got a whole bunch of things down. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm starting out really small. It's like, I'm going to work on these things. Do this like a routine with, awesome, CJ. Do this with gratitude. Make them like push-ups. I remember years ago, I thought, man, I could only do 7 push-ups. By the time I was done, I was doing 215 push-ups. And it's like, wow, that was less than a year that I went from nothing to something really strong. And it changed the way my body looked. It was great. Okay, think of the gratitude as push-ups and reach outside yourself. Maybe what will really help is when you write down what you're grateful for, actually respond. I had a little, I did something for a few years. I would buy a really expensive pen, like a $300 or $400 pen, like a Mont Blanc pen. And I would give it to the person. I had my own awards, the Ricky Awards. I would give it to the person who had impacted my life the most that year, who I felt gratitude for. And wow, when you gave someone a pen, it was so fascinating watching their response. And I had it engraved with their name on it, And it was like, and it was a powerful thing. I'm not sure why I stopped doing it. But let's work on those push-ups, gratitude push-ups. And so when you write down who you're grateful for or what you're grateful for, think of the person behind that and reach out. But then think of every client you have, everyone who has stuck with you, everyone who has helped you, everyone who's been with you, anyone who's remembered you. And if you sit there and just send out thank yous for no reason other than to share gratitude, it's going to be beautiful. So, okay, Michael, turn it back to you.
Just thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We are really, really grateful for you and our whole Kingdom Organizer community. Keep working on your organizer and keep sharing it. Thank you so much.
Take care, all. Have a good night and have a great week.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Michael.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.